Okay, today we continue with our class Shabbat Kitchen. Today's class number 6, and we start with Sefer Shmiras Lashon. Today's topic with love and respect. It's always good. Love and respect, always good. Okay. We find that the sages willingly brought the shame upon themselves in order to save another person from being shamed. That's very praiseworthy. So they were ready to bring shame on themselves in order to save other person from being shamed. It happened once that Rabbi Gamliel said, "Awaken 7 judges for me and have them come to the attic." The next morning, Rabbi Gamliel awoke and found the 8 judges in the attic. So he asked for 7, 8K. Right? He declared, "Whoever ascended without permission should descend." Shmuel HaKatan arose and said, "I'm the one who ascended without permission." It was not really Shmuel HaKatan who ascended without permission, but someone else. It was only because of the embarrassment the person would have suffered that the Shmuel HaKatan made himself make his admission. It's Sanhedrin 111a. So this is a great person. Our great sage Shmuel HaKatan. HaKatan small, right? Very short person, but very big spiritually. So he said, "Let me be embarrassed and not my fellow Jew be embarrassed." Surely then one should help his friend correct any improper behavior that could lead to his embarrassment. Certainly, if one sees his fellow acting in a manner which is contrary to halacha, he is obligated to inform him of this privately. If necessary, rebuke him. So basically, somebody is doing something that halachically is forbidden, and maybe he does not know. So basically, he's embarrassing himself. Like some people who just started. I saw many times. I don't know how many times, maybe 5 or 6 times in my life, from different people. So when they do in Shmona Esrei, they bow with every blessing, and even though people around them do not bow, and they see, it's not like the guy is standing in the middle of nowhere. No, he stands in the minyan, and everybody bows only these 4 times, but he bows with every blessing. So, and somehow, it was not my show. I just joined that meeting, and nobody told them anything, even after the prayers. So on a second day, I pulled the person aside and I explained it. That's not what we do, and he did not know. He got embarrassed, but he was surprised. He thought that he's doing extra, but he did not know. So that's our obligation to tell people. That's not what we do. And another place, I don't know, I told only 2 people. Other people maybe left before I finished. I'm not sure what happened, but that basically there's obligation, because he's embarrassing himself. In doing so, one fulfilled the both commandment to reprove one's fellow, Vayikra 19:17, and commandment to love one fellow as oneself. So basically, it's the easier thing. It just keep quiet and let this person be embarrassed, and everybody would laugh. No, not everybody, but there's always people who make fun of others. When one helps his fellow to improve his divine service, he brings great satisfaction, as it were to HaShem. Of course, HaShem is not affected with our deeds to the good or to the bad. He's perfect with or without us, right? So, but as it were, so HaShem would, if in human terms, right? If you can, so for us to understand, so he would derive pleasure when we help each other. Conversely, when one disparages his fellow before the others for having behaved incorrectly, what does the one above gain from this? Right, so he embarrassed another fellow. That's not what we do. In some instances, you're obligated. We are obligated to embarrass somebody, but most of the case, it's not shown. Okay. So we continue Shabbat Kitchen. Yeah. Shabbat Kitchen, and we are still on chapter number 3, page 49. It's a new edition book. And let me read the summary of what we said last time, so that we can continue from here. So last time we said, so the title of the chapter is Immersing Foods in the Hot Vessels. Okay, the summary. Pre-cooked seasoning may be added to dry foods, even if clearly shown. So clearly shown, we said the first vessel, which was actually cooked. All right, so there you can dry cooked foods. Okay. Just pre-cooked seasoning. So pre-cooked seasoning. Okay. Continue. Pre-cooked liquid. Pre-cooked liquid condiment, for example, ketchup, may be used on dry foods only in cliché. Right. So on dry food, only dry food we're talking about, because ketchup is a liquid, as we said, right? And cliché, no problem. Cliché is secondary vessel. Uncooked spices should never be used on a dry food that is yatsaladasbo, because we said that doesn't matter how many utensils, how many vessels you're going to transfer this solid foods, they still able to cook wherever get into contact with them, because they're so dense. There is a heat inside. That's the explanation basically. So if it's above the yatsaladasbo, it's going to cook all of the cooked spices like pepper and stuff, others. Regardless of how many vessels they have been transferred to. Okay, understand that. Continue. It is praiseworthy to keep uncooked foods, there is salad, from coming in contact with hot solid food on one's plate, as long as the hot salads are still yatsaladasbo. So basically, for example, a person take it's chicken, so it's very hot chicken, about yatsaladasbo. He puts it in his plate, and he has salad, cucumbers, tomatoes, stuff like that, right? And it's even some kind of dressing. So if this piece of cucumber comes into contact with chicken, so theoretically this chicken can cook cucumber. Is it going to cook completely? No, but to some degree. So they say it's praiseworthy not to do that. Okay, so we start in section number 8. It's very interesting section. Status of a ladle. So ladle is a thing where you take the soup, for example, from the pot and put it in your plate. That's the thing. The big spoon ladle. Okay. A ladle not left in a pot. Okay. If ladle is used to take soup from a pot, which is clearly shown, so it was a pot of soup that was on a blech, right? We take the soup from the blech, right? So this pot is clearly shown, meaning the primary vessel, the first vessel, clearly shown. So one more time. If ladle is used to take soup from the pot, which is clearly shown, but is not dipped in many times in succession, and is not left in a pot between the servings, a question arises regarding its status. Some poskim say that the ladle is klisheni, making the bowl in which the soup is served is klishlishi. According to this opinion, it would be permissible to add baked items or any uncooked spices into to the bowl of soup. Okay, so let's try to understand. So we have this ladle, and let's say it's made of metal to make it simpler, right? So because metal actually is going to keep the heat better, right? So if it's wood, that's different story, right? The wood is not such a good conductor, so it's not going to keep heat. But let's say it's metal, right? Ladle made of metal, and it's cold. And what does it mean cold? That he's not keeping this ladle in a pot. So he took like spoon. Let's say it's a huge ladle. So meaning even 2 times is enough to make like to fill the bowl. Let's say, right? So what they tried, the author is trying to say that this ladle is not going to heat up. So it's going to be cold technically, right? So if you need only two ladles to fill the bowl, so of course it's going to be cold, right? If you need many of them, so maybe they say in many succession you go in and out, so basically it can get hot. So maybe they say in this case it would be like Kli Rishon, like first vessel. But if it's cold, if it's only a few times and you need to fill the bowl, and between the bowls you would put it down, not in a pot, but somewhere on a plate, right? So in this case, this ladle is cold, and they say in this case the ladle is considered to be Kli Sheni, secondary vessel, and our bowl, right, is a Kli Shlishi, meaning the third vessel. So in the third vessel, we say there is no cooking after cooking, no cooking after baking in the third vessel, unless, as I said, some exception, these tea leaves and others. Okay. But others are not going to get cooked in a third vessel. So that's the thing. So that's one opinion. Other poskim rule that since the ladle is placed in a Kli Rishon, the pot, it too is treated as Kli Rishon. According to this view, the bowl is only Kli Sheni, and it is forbidden to put baked items or uncooked spices into it. Okay, so let's try to understand second opinion. So second opinion said, no, come on, what are you talking about? If this law is if this ladle goes into this pot, so it's like a pot, right? As we said before, the definition. When we say Kli Rishon, it does not mean we don't mean that the pot itself, but we said the contents of the pot. That's what it means. That's what we mean by Kli Rishon. Even though we say Kli Rishon on the pot, but we mean the contents of the pot. So here we say if the latest second opinion, so which is more stricter, right? I guess, right? So that since the ladle is submerged many times in this Kli Rishon, so it is Kli Rishon. It's a part of the Kli Rishon. Same as soup, that is transferred somewhere, it's going to be Kli Rishon, right? While it's pouring on something. So same as this ladle, right? So this ladle is Kli Rishon, and it's a primary first vessel, and the bowl is Kli Sheni, second vessel. So you cannot put let's say you cannot add matzah or pieces of bread into your bowl of soup. Okay, so two very strong opinions. Okay, continue. In practice, we follow the rule. Following the rule is observed. So in many times when two strong opinions and there was scheme on one side and the other side, we're trying to satisfy both opinions if it's possible. Not all, most times it's possible, and we go in the middle of the road, so to satisfy both opinions. So let's see what will we do. Number one, uncooked spices. So uncooked spices we treat, of course, most stringently. Okay. With regard to uncooked spices, except pepper, ginger, and cinnamon, see page 40. As we said before, those are not going to cook so easily, right? The ladle should be covered. Consider a Kli Rishon, making the bowl a Kli Sheni. Okay, so meaning therefore, before adding any uncooked seasoning to the bowl, to the bowl of soup. One must transfer the soup to the kli sheni. Kli sheni. Kli shlishi. Okay, I apologize. In the Torah, so meaning in one bowl, and then from that bowl transfer to another bowl. Or wait until the soup cools to the temperature that is below Yatzel bowl. So it's one of the two. Let me quickly see page 40. I think it was longer list, but let's see. 1 second. I don't know what else was there. 1 second. Okay, so items that are not easily cooked, and we said item that is not easily cooked. The following items are definitely not considered easily cooked and may be immersed in kli sheni: water, oil, ginger, cinnamon, and pepper. Okay. So that's what's the list. So in this case, we treat this ladle as a kli rishon, right? And the bowl is kli sheni. Bowl is a secondary vessel, right? So we need to transfer to the third vessel, or just wait until it cools down to below Yatzel's bowl. That's the thing. Okay. The last sentence one more time. Therefore, before adding any uncooked seasoning to a bowl of soup, one must transfer the soup to a kli shlishi, to the third vessel, or wait until the soup cools to a temperature that is below Yatzel's bowl. Okay, number 2, cooked items, baked items. So now we spoke about the ginger and others, except pepper, ginger, cinnamon. Now we're talking about baked items. With regard to the baked items, we may consider the later as kli sheni, right? Okay, so in this case, in case number 1, we go more stricter, in this more lenient, right? So we said that with regard to the baked items, one may consider ladle kli sheni and the bowl kli shlishi. So our bowl is actually the vessel number 3. Since the issue of cooking previously baked item is itself subject to debate, so not everybody agree that you improving when you improve, for example, croutons that you put in the soup, because the soup was cooked and croutons were baked. So we go by more strict opinion. We say there is baking after, there is cooking after baking and baking after cooking, right? So, but since not everybody agrees, so in this case we can go leniently. Okay, so it's very interesting. One more time, this commentary. Since the issue of cooking previously baked items is itself subject to debate, in the case of the ladle, we may follow the lenient view. Okay, very nice. In the case of the ladle, we say it's actually secondary vessel, which consider ladle the kli sheni, and the bowl is kli shlishi. Okay. Thus, it is permissible to add pieces of matzah or baked croutons to a soup that was put into the bowl with ladle. It is also permissible to pour soup from the ladle directly onto the baked items, as pouring from kli sheni falls under the rule of kli shlishi, right? So, if we pour from a secondary vessel into some food or in a third vessel, so it's considered to be pouring in a third vessel. But we learned before, and we say if you pour something from a kli rishon, right? So even in a secondary vessel, it's still kli rishon. It's still a primary vessel. So that's why we can use all of this leniency in this case. Okay. So next case. So first case we said was ladle not left in the pot, not right. Second scenario, later left in the pot. So meaning, we understand that it would get very hot. Right? If ladle is left in a pot for extended period, or if it is immersed many times in succession, and it didn't have time to cool off, right? All poskim agree that it must be considered clearly shown. That's not no debates here. Everybody agrees it's clearly shown because it's very hot. In this case, the bowl is certainly only clear shiny, and one may not add baked items or uncooked seasoning, unless the soup is transferred to kli shlishi or cools to a temperature to yad soledes bowl. I think it's easy. First, I'm not sure if it's very healthy to add such a hot soup or whatever this above yad soledes bowl. Right, so just wait a few minutes and we're going to get cool. Continue. It should be noted that this question regarding the ladle is irrelevant with respect to pre-cooked seasoning. See page 15. Okay. Regarding salt and seasoning, which may be added to kli sheni according to all opinions. Okay. So in kli sheni, so these are cooked like salt and other things. So meaning the things that were cooked, like salt, we say it is cooked. There's some, I think, some salt that is not cooked, that they get from the ground. The salt that they get from the sea is cooked, but from the ground, I don't think all of it is cooked. I'm not sure. I don't think so. Okay, but let's follow simple, straightforward logic that it is cooked. So you can add salt into even if you in your bowl, even if the bowl is considered kli sheni. I mean, in second levels. Summary: soup transfer from the pot to a bowl by the means of the ladle is in some respect treated as kli sheni, and the others as kli shlishi. So in some cases it's kli sheni, kli shlishi. So it depends, as we said, it's how hot this ladle is. That's the thing. Practically speaking, uncooked spices, except for ginger, pepper, and cinnamon, should not be added to that bowl. But baked items may be added, provided the ladle was not immersed again and again and did not remain in the pot between the ladles. So as we said, in the case of the baked items, because not everybody agreed, there is one doubt, and now there is a second doubt about this ladle. So two doubts. So we can go immediately and say that ladle is a secondary vessel and bowl is a tertiary vessel. If the ladle was left in a pot for an extended period or was immersed many times, the bowl is definitely considered only kli sheni. And even the baked goods should not be added until it is cooled. Okay. Now we're going to practical applications. So now it's, I think many things are going to be cleared up. Okay, let me see. Yeah. Okay. It's section 9, practical application. Warming up a baby bottle. Number 1, cooked liquids. A baby bottle contains a cooked liquid. There is any pasteurized juice or liquid or water may be immersed in a bowl or a cup of hot water that is in a kli sheni. So in a secondary vessel, even if it's very hot, so we can immerse this baby bottle. It is also permissible to pour water from the kettle or urn, clearly shown, into the onto the outside of the bottle or a container. Okay. But we say only when this when the water will drain off, not if water is going to be captured in kli sheni. Okay. Continue. Number 2, uncooked liquids. A baby bottle that contains uncooked liquid, with exception of water, may not be immersed in kli sheni. Okay. Because it's going to get cooked, right? But it may be immersed in a kli shlishi, so in a tertiary vessel. However, it is permissible to pour water from a kli rishon into the bottle. Okay. The act of pouring may not be done while bottle is in a bowl, as we just explained. I mean, I'm not sure why they skipped it in the first thing. I'm not sure. Since it will result in the bottle remain immersed in a kli sheni, which is forbidden. So basically, I mean, I think the easiest way is just pour the water from kli rishon to kli sheni, and then immerse your bottle into it. I'm not sure why do we have to go all these different ways. Okay. Although in the case of meat, for example, baby will not drink any other warm liquid, and uncooked liquid may be warmed up if in a hot kli sheni. Okay, so now we go like exception. So if it's uncooked liquid and that's the only thing that baby wants to drink, right? So we can even put it in a hot kli sheni, in a hot secondary vessel. Otherwise, we don't put uncooked liquids, as we said, in a secondary vessel. It is best to warm up the in a kli shlishi, or by pouring water from kli sheni. Okay. Okay, continue. B, adding noodles to hot soup. Okay, so noodles, we're talking about like cooked noodles. It's not, yeah? So you have soup separately, noodles separately. Cooked, cold dry noodles may be added to hot soup that is still in a pot, clearly shown. Okay. Provided that the pot is first removed from the source of heat. Likewise, one may pour hot soup directly from the kli rishon into the hot cooked noodles. So as we said before, you can warm up. We were talking about chicken, the example of chicken. So you have soup, hot soup, cold chicken. You can put chicken into this pot of food, soup to warm up the chicken. There is no problem whatsoever. So the same way, I mean, they say here that you can put the cold noodles, right? They were cooked, and they were cooked, and the soup was cooked. So basically, there is no prohibition. So to do in warming up in a different way from that was used originally, right? And that's it. So even in a primary vessel, but one thing that we said, it has to be removed from the source of heat. That's very important. Continue. C, adding croutons, challah, matzah, cookies, or cake to hot liquid. Okay, maybe to coffee, hot coffee, and they want to add dip this cake into the coffee. That's my guess. Okay, number 1, baked croutons and other baked items. Baked croutons, challah, matzah, cookies, or cake may not be added to a hot liquid that is clearly shown, or kli sheni. So all of these things, since they were baked, right? And we said there is cooking after baking. I mean, yeah. I mean that it is forbidden. So they cannot be added to the primary vessel, to the pot, to original pot, and not to the secondary vessel, not to the secondary vessel. 1 second, okay. So the guest here. Okay. I have a bug here on the wall. Maybe it's a Jewish neshama came to hear our class. Maybe. Okay, maybe they didn't keep kosher last time. The last slide, previous slide. Okay, maybe. So one more time. So baked croutons, challah, matzah, cookies, or cake may not be added to the hot liquid. So hot, we said the baf yatzla, right? That is in a kli rishon. primary vessel, or kli sheni, right, secondary vessel. However, if a ladle, which was not a kli rishon, not in kli rishon, from extended period of time, there is in between the ladling and was not submerged again and again, was used to transfer the hot liquid to a bowl, then the baked croutons or the like may be added to the bowl. So it's actually from our previous paragraph that we said. So in some cases, so this ladle, if it's if it was immersed many times or left in this pot of soup, so in this case, this ladle is going to become primary vessel, kli rishon, and meaning that the bowl is going to be kli sheni, and it's going. We said if it's hot enough, it's going to cook all these things. So it's not allowed to add cookies and matzah and all other beautiful things, croutons, right? But if we said if we say it was not immersed, like for a long period of time, and was not left in a bowl, so then it is a secondary vessel, and our bowl is a tertiary vessel. So you can add all of these croutons and matzah and challah into your bowl. One is also permitted to put baked croutons into a bowl and pour a hot soup on them with a ladle. So there is no problem, as we said, because it's a secondary vessel. The same holds true with any baked item. Okay. So continue. Number 2, cooked croutons. So cooked, okay, well, let's see. Cooked croutons may be added directly to the kli rishon, which is of fire. So meaning, in this case, they are dry, right, and they are cooked. Deep fried croutons have the same halakhic status as a cooked food, and therefore may be placed in a kli rishon that is of the fire. So it's very interesting. So in this cook croutons, I mean deep fry in oil. So I have oil. They drop these croutons, and they consider to be fried, meaning cooked, right? So soup is cooked, and this is cooked. These croutons are dry, so you can add them in the same way as we say you can add noodles. You can add these dry croutons into the primary vessel. Of course, same goes for this. We have to take it out of the fire. Okay. So next one, D, salt. Nowadays, in the United States, all salt except rock salt, mine salt is cooked. Okay, so you see, except rock salt. I'm not sure. Do they keep it on rock? I don't think so. I think I'm not sure if we use it in what you call it? For cooking, maybe some for some I don't know, technical things, like they put on the road during the winter. They spray it with salt. Maybe that's how you use that salt. I'm not sure. But on the other hand, there is a Himalayan salt. I'm not sure if it's cooked. Maybe not. Okay. So continue. I mean, it's also preferable to find out and cook the kashrus agency and ask them if it's cooked or not cooked. If you need to use it on Shabbos in this capacity, right? So but to be on the safe side, if we do it in our bowl, and this ladle is considered to be secondary vessel, or it's below yatzel of this bowl, there is no problem. So you would be saved according to all of the opinions. So okay. So let's see. Okay, so we're now going to discuss salt. Number 1, cooked salt. Cooked salt may be added to hot liquids that are in kli sheni, on the secondary vessel. Likewise, cooked salt may be put on salads, even if they are in a clear shown. So in this case, we treat salt, the way I understand, as a liquid. So a liquid is now in a solid form, right? So we are allowed to put it on. We said that the liquids are going to be cooked by another liquids, right? So we say that that's why we cannot put it in a primary vessel, but we can put it in a primary vessel only on a solid, but in a secondary vessel or even with liquids. So one more time, just to make sure that we got it correctly. Cooked salt may be added to the hot liquids that are in a cliché, so in a secondary vessel. So hot is above Yatzel as well. Likewise, cooked salt may be put on salads, even if they are in a clear shown. Okay. This is true as long as the salads are no longer on their source of heat. So in all these things, I mean, he always keep remind us, but it's very important that all of these permissions are given only if we take from the source of heat. That's it. So disconnected, meaning, like in simple words, it's the temperature starts dropping. Maybe not so tremendously, but once it's separated, it starts dropping. Okay, so now second one is uncooked salt. Although generally no uncooked food can be added to clearly shown, that is off the fire, the Gemara in Shabbos 42b cites two opinions about the status of salt. According to one opinion, salt is different and may be added to a clearly shown, very interesting, that is off the fire. And the second opinion holds that the salt is easily cooked, as we know, right? I mean, dissolved very, very fast, and thus should not be added, even to clear sheni. Okay, so one said even in clear shown, the second opinion said not even clear sheni, meaning not even to secondary vessel. The Shulchan Aruch rules according to the lenient view, but Rima, which is Ashkenazic authority, writes that if one is stringent in this matter and adds uncooked salt to a liquid only in a kli shlishi or to a salad, if it is no longer yatzel adasbo, he should be blessed. So there is some things that Rema and other Mishnah Berurah, so they say, okay, you're not obligated to do it strictly by the letter of the law, but if you do that, there is big blessing. So why we should not get a big blessing? I'm not sure what people go against. I mean, of course, it's not against it. It's not like breaking any laws, but blessings are also good, especially from people like Rema, right, and Mishnah Berurah. So let me read it one more time. The Shulchan Aruch rules according to the lenient view, but Rema. So where's the lenient view? That the salt, so its first opinion is more lenient, right? The salt is different. So it is first opinion said that salt is exception, maybe added to clearly shown, right? Even to the first vessel. So we don't consider this sage does not consider as a liquid. And of the fire, of course, of the fire. The second opinion, which is more stringent, hold that salt is easily cooked. So maybe exception, but it is easily cooked. And thus should not be added even to clear sheni. So meaning that he's going by a very strict opinion. So why? One more time, we're talking about uncooked salt. With cooked, as we said before, it's a different story. The Shulchan Aruch rules according to the lenient view, but Rema writes that if one is stringent in this manner and adds uncooked salt to a liquid, only in a kli shlishi, or to the salad, there is no longer yatzel adasbo. And so uncooked foods, in uncooked liquids in a third vessel, and salads, like if he wants to put this salt on a piece of chicken, right? only if it's below Yad Saladas board, because we said the salads are able to cook everything that is going to get into contact with the surface. Okay, and Rima said he should be blessed. It should be noted that the salt on Erev, in Eretz Israel is generally not cooked. That's very interesting. Okay, so that's what we must know. The next one, E, sugar. Sugar is cooked during the production and therefore may be added to the hot liquids in a kli sheni, and to the hot solids in a kli rishon. Okay, I'm not sure what would be hot salads. I don't know, maybe baked apples, I guess, right? And they won't put some sugar on top of it. Okay. Because why? One more time, because sugar was cooked and it's like liquid, right? Which is no longer the source of heat. So always we have to, in order to add something to this dish, we have to take it out from the source of heat. Okay, next example, F. Not the example, next practical application. Artificial and non-natural sweeteners. Okay, so one more time, sugar is always cooked. I'm not sure if it's uncooked sugar. I don't think so. Right. Sweeteners such as sweet and low, saccharin, okay, Splenda, sucralose, okay, and equal aspartame. I'm not sure what are those. Maybe different names. I'm not sure. All cooked. Or maybe it's what is it? The base of this brand name, right? All cooked and maybe added to the hot liquid in a kli sheni. So technically, we can, as we said, we can make like if we have we can add sugar to the secondary to the cup, right? To the cup itself. So you have hot water and you can pour it in a cup and on direct, and you can add sugar right there. Okay, so one more time. All cooked, so all of the sugar, all of these sweeteners, all cooked and maybe added to the hot liquid in a kli sheni, and onto the hot liquids in a kli rishon, onto hot salads. I apologize. Maybe again this example, this baked apple, I guess. Hot salads in a kli rishon. There is no longer the source of heat. Stevia, it's another one, is initially spray dried in a manner that is considered halachically cooked. Spray dried, okay. However, it undergoes further processing and is also mixed with other sweeteners, which may not have been cooked. So it's stevia. It's, I don't know, the brand name. If one is not sure how a dry sweetener is preceded, that is, if it is pre-cooked, he should pour the hot water into kli shlishi before adding the sweetener. This is the method recommended for stevia. So I don't know all these things. I mean, I know this. There was other sweeteners. It's people who do not want to eat sugar. They eat this and get cancer, basically. Okay, that's the thing. All right. So basically, but for us, the bottom line, you can if you wanted to go stringently. I mean, I always go do everything in a tortured vessel, just not to remember as less rules as possible. Right, so in tortured vessel, according to all of the opinion, it's good. Okay, so G, cinnamon, ginger. Okay, cinnamon and ginger are not cooked during the production. However, they may be added to the hot liquid or solid in a kli sheni. Okay, because we said that they're not going to get so easy. Okay, kli sheni. Next one, peppers. Pepper. Pepper black cayenne crushed red is not cooked during the production. However, it may be added to hot liquids or salads that are cliche. Okay, so and they're not cooked, but they are considered to be salads, right? And they can be added to the liquid, and plus we said they're not easily cooked. Okay, so basically they're not going to get cooked in a secondary vessel. Next one. Next one, additional spices and spice mixes. Onion powder and garlic powder are cooked and may be sprinkled onto the liquid in a cliche. Okay. So because they're dry, right? And onto the hot salads in a cliché. There is no longer is the source of heat, so which is understandable. So let's read it one more time. Let's see. I want to finish at least this chapter. Okay, we try to finish. Okay. So one more time. Additional spices and spice mixes. Onion powder and garlic powder are cooked and may be sprinkled onto the liquid in a cliche, secondary vessel, and onto the hot salads of cliché, right? So in a liquid secondary vessel, on salads in the first vessel, that no longer in a source of heat. Spice mixes, for example, steak seasoning, Cajun spice, chili powder, may contain some cooked ingredients and some uncooked ingredients. Therefore, before sprinkling the spice mix onto the hot liquid, one must transfer the hot liquid into cliché. Okay. I'm sorry, I apologize. Cliché. So because the spices are not, how could I say it? Some spices that are not cooked, and many of them easily cooked, I guess. Right, so it has to be in a third vessel. So if you have ladle, if you consider ladle a secondary vessel, so into your bowl. In regard to the hot salad, one must wait until the food is no longer yet salad's bowl before seasoning the spice with the mix. As we said, the salads, they keep high temperature even you transfer many times. Okay. Next one, J, ketchup and other cooked condiments. Ketchup is cooked during production, as are barbecue sauce, and the hot sauce. Okay. They may be added to the hot liquid salad in a cliché, right? Because they're already cooked, even though they consider to be liquids. They may not be added to a hot liquid in a cliché, because they are liquids, right? Even if the pot is off the fire. However, they may be added, poured onto hot liquid, for example, soupy cholent in a cliché. So if they transfer into the bowl, and let's say this ladle is very hot, so in there you can add this soupy cholent. It's very interesting. Okay, this cholent is not very healthy for the stomach. Okay, cliché. Okay, then I mean it's not only not healthy, but it's very, very heavy food, and the people get sleepy after that. So, but Shabbos was given to study Torah. So why would you do something that is contrary to why the Shabbos was given? You understand? I mean, I don't know. Okay, so we in our family try to eat lighter foods, so we can learn Torah. That's I think it's simple. Okay. Okay, mustard. Mustard is not cooked, during the production and therefore cannot be put on a hot liquid, for example, meat, on a hot salad, cannot on a salad, regardless how many times utensil was placed in. How many utensils it was placed in. So many, even 3 times you transfer this piece of chicken, but it's so hot. So it's going to cook this mustard. Okay, so it's really interesting. I didn't know that mustard is never cooked. So I mean, for us, I mean, for simple people, it's like, what is the difference between ketchup and mustard? But yeah. Okay, so okay, continue. However, it may be placed in liquid. For example, soupy cholent, because this is liquid. That is klisheni. So it's klisheni, as we said. It's it's already removed from the place and stuff. And this is liquid. And this is liquid. Actually, I'm not sure if the mustard in this case is considered liquid or solid. I think it's considered liquid according to what they say. So only in a secondary vessel. So if it would be the solids, so it would they would allow us to put it in a. Oh no, it's not cooked. It's not cooked. I apologize. It's not cooked. It's not cooked. That's the thing. Okay, continue. Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is not cooked during the production. It's not cooked during production, and therefore cannot be added to the hot salads. For example, egg left in the cholent. No matter how many utensils they are placed in, as long as the eggs are above yad saledas bowl. Okay, so mayonnaise is also not cooked. Very interesting. So continue. Next example. Placing uncooked foods alongside the hot salad. So one next to each other. It is praiseworthy not to place pickles, coleslaw, or cucumber salad next to a hot dry cholent, since a piece of kugel or a piece of meat, because they're very hot and they're going to cook this raw vegetables. Okay, continue. N. Adding cold water to a hot drink. Okay, one second. There is a note, but I'm not. Let's see, what is this note? I'm not sure. Okay, so let's see. Adding cold water to a hot drink. It is permissible to add cold water to a hot tea or coffee in a cup of kli sheni, and in a secondary cup. So as we said, we can add like milk or something, right? Or to hot soup in a bowl of kli sheni, but not to the pot of hot water or soup in kli rishon. See above. If it is close to the boiling point. So one more time. I apologize. One more time. It is permissible to add cold water to hot tea or coffee in a cup kli sheni, or to a hot cup, to hot soup, or in a bowl kli sheni. So meaning it's a cup. So it doesn't matter. It's cup. It's a secondary vessel of this bowl. Secondary vessel doesn't matter, but not to a pot of water of soup. Not to a pot of water of soup. Okay, clearly shown. Okay, so not to the first vessel, but to the second vessel. Okay. So continue. However, it is permissible to pour a large quantity of cold water into a small amount of hot water in kli rishon. So because why? Because it's not going to get cooked, because it's a lot of cold water that has been removed from the fire. If resulting mixture will not be yad saledas bowl. However, this is permitted only if the cold water is added all at once. meaning, as we said before, that it's not going to get cold. Adding hot water to a cold drink. One may not pour hot water from the kettle or urn, clearly shown where it was cooked, into cup containing some cold water. Like we said, for example, somebody rinsed the cup, right? So rinse the cup, so this droplets, for sure, it's not cooked water. It is, however, permissible to add small amount of hot water into large quantity of cold water if the resulting mixture will not be yad saladasbo. And that's so. As we said, they're cooking only above yad saladasbo. Next one: pouring hot water into wet cup. So that's an example that we just gave. Okay, I'm not sure. It's too much. We're not going to finish. All right. So maybe two more in this stuff. Pouring hot water into wet cup. One should not pour hot water from a kettle or urn, clearly shown, into a wet cup, as the droplets of cold water clinging to the walls of the cup will be cooked by the flow of hot water. If the droplets of water were previously boiled, there is no obligation to dry the cup before the pouring hot water into it. Nevertheless, it is preferable to first dry the cup or shake out the remaining liquid. So basically, they say so. The problem is if you're going to rinse this cup, right, and then pour hot water, so there is droplets and they're going to cook. But if you have remaining of the tea, let's say you have some droplets from the tea, and you want a second cup, so technically they say there is no problem because these droplets were cooked and it's secondary vessel on one hand. But it's preferable to dry it anyway. I mean, that's what we do. We always dry cups, right? To be on a safe side always. I mean, it's not so hard, but if you like my approach, just learn one way how to do that, and it's not so hard, and you're never going to make a mistake, period, in all the situations. So I don't have to think this water is cold or hot or this or that. But technically, if you leave it this cup if you drank tea completely you drank, so even if you drops left, right, that they're going to dry anyway. Like 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, which you look at the cup, it's all dry. So it's not a problem. Okay, continue. Serving soup or liquid cholent with a ladle, replacing a pot cover. One more time. Serving soup or liquid cholent with a ladle / replacing a pot cover. Okay. When using ladle to serve soup from a pot, clearly shown, so it's always clearly shown, the ladle should not be allowed to cool between the servings. So here we go. So we say that if it's going to get cool, so and you have droplets on a ladle, so they're not going to get cooked because they cooked, but you're going to warm them up basically. So that's I think the idea. So one more time. When you use a ladle to serve soup from a pot, clearly shown, and the ladle should not be allowed to cool between the servings. If some times elapsed and the ladle did cool off, it is preferable to shake any excess liquid from the ladle before reinserting it into the pot, because as I said, there is a remaining liquid. Or if you put it like on a plate, so I think all of the liquid is going to drain into this plate. Okay. Into its pot. This is to avoid recooking the droplets of the cold soup remaining on the ladle. So even though we said there is no cooking after cooking, but since it is liquid, that's the issue, right? So there is prohibition against warming up the liquids in the first vessel. Right? That's the thing. The same holds true with replacing the cover on the pot of the hot food clearly shown. If the cover was left off for a long enough time to cool, it is preferable to shake off liquid from the cover before replacing the food. So there is always liquid like condensate, right, on the top of the cover, and that's what we have to remove. So usually what we do, just wipe with a napkin, and that's it. There's no problem. If it's still hot, there is no problem. But if it's cool down, so that's the issue. Continue. If the ladle or the cover of the pot is wet, ladle or the cover is wet from the rinsing with the fresh water, it is forbidden to use the ladle in the pot cover until it is wiped dry. So I mean, if you went to wipe this ladle, so basically it is liquid, but it's liquid is uncooked. This water is uncooked, so you cannot put this uncooked water into primary vessel. So it's clearly that we have to wipe it dry. So again, with a napkin, throw out the napkin, and you're good. In chapter 4, we will see that the ladle / spoon may not be used at all unless the pot is first removed from the blech. Okay, that's actually, let's try to finish up. Okay, so next one is subject that we discussed many times in previous classes: preparing instant coffee or tea. Okay. So one more time, it's instant coffee, meaning that it was cooked before. Pre-cooked coffee may be prepared in the following manner. Hot water should be poured from the kettle or urn, clearly shown, onto the dry cup, cliche. So he gives all the details. So this the first cup, the cup must be dry, as we just explained, right? And we pour hot water, how hot? Very hot, doesn't matter. One may then add instant coffee and sugar and milk, whether daily or a parif, doesn't matter, right? Meaning that daily or parif, was it milk, was cooked 100%. Wow. Okay. Cold water may also be added to a coffee in a cliche. So cold water you can add in a cliche in a secondary vessel. So one more time, you pour the water into the first cup, right? First cup, and you can add coffee and sugar and milk, because milk was pasteurized, of course. If you got it directly from the cow, it did not pasteurize, of course, it would not be the case, but okay. Cold water may also be added to a coffee in a cliche. So in a second cup, you can do all of these things. Of course, cold water that is cooked in it. The same procedure may be followed for instance for instant pre-cooked tea. So this it's like a powder, right? Instant tea. Okay. See discussion chapter 15 regarding coloring. So that's the issue that we discussed. That's how they make colors, right? I mean paints. Regarding creating a new entity. Okay. So continue. If the water is still close to the boiling point, I'm not sure how it's possible. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe if it was a kettle and it was in a blech and it's like very, very hot. But in the urn, it's hot. Water is hot, but not that hot. It is preferable to observe more stringent practice, transferring the hot water into a kli shlishi before adding the other ingredients. I mean, we're always doing everything in a third vessel, right? Not pour from the kettle or from the urn into cup, and then do everything in the second cup. If the coffee or instant tea is not cooked, it must be placed only in a kli shlishi. It should be noted that some brands of coffee and tea made in Europe are not pre-cooked. Okay. Okay. So continue. Hot cocoa. Instant hot cocoa may be prepared the same way as coffee So meaning first you pour water and then you add this cocoa. Unprocessed cocoa, however, may be prepared only in kli shlishi. So it is unprocessed cocoa, meaning it's not cooked. Okay, I think that they use it for baking stuff like that. Okay. Next one, tea bags. Tea bags or tea leaves may not be immersed in the hot water. There is that above Yatzel does go on Shabbos in any vessel. So we said because it's easily cooked, so in any vessel. Therefore, one should prepare tea essence before Shabbos by putting boiling water over the leaves or the tea bags and stirring them in hot water. Stirring them in hot water. So basically, we prepare, and it's so that this mixture is very strong. It's not recommended to drink like this tea essence. But when you make tea, you just add some of hot water and some you mix with this tea essence. If the tea essence is kept hot during Shabbos, there is on a blech, it is best to pour some essence into a glass and then add hot water to it. Okay. If the essence is not kept hot, one must first pour hot water into a cup, klisheni, and then add the tea essence. Because we said, why is that? Same explanation. When we pour something from a klisheni, it's like klisheni. That's why we go with. But when we add whatever this liquid, whatever we add from the kli rishon. I'm sorry, I apologize. I said klisheni. So when we pour from original vessel, right, kli rishon, it is the liquid is kli rishon, even if it's secondary vessel, right? I mean, when we pour on something, so it's still important to cook. But in this case, we said first pour the water and then add the other things. So in a secondary vessel, or do everything whatever you want in a tertiary vessel. That's what we do. So one more time, last thing, we're almost finished. If the tea essence is kept hot during the Shabbos, right, on the blech, it is best to pour some essence into the glass and then add the hot water to it. If the essence is not kept hot, one must first pour hot water into cup, right, and of klisheni, and then add the essence. But if you do it in a tertiary vessel, there is no problem. You can do it any way you want. So that's the beauty of it. Instant noodle soup. I don't think you can make it, but let's see. In the case of the need, for example, if one is in a hospital and there is no other food, one may prepare instant noodle soup by pouring the hot water from the klisheni into the noodles, spices and vegetables. Into the noodles, spices and vegetables. I think that the spices and the vegetables, they give it like separate bags, so you're not obligated to use them. One should make sure that the spices are covered by the noodles to avoid the prohibition of molit. Dissolving the spice by directly pouring hot water. Okay. I mean, okay. Or as I said, don't add the spices. Okay, but or they say it will be covered by food. I guess take off these noodles, put the spices on the bottom, and then put the spices back and pour the water. However, the method of preparation varies from one country to another, and or one brand to another in regard to these soups. Therefore, one should consult halakhic authorities for final ruling. The way I understand this noodle soup, they're cooked completely, but these spices, I'm not sure they cook, like pepper and other things. Okay, so we can stop here. So we got up to chapter number 4. Any questions, or we stop here? Okay, so we'll stop here. So good night until tomorrow, Bezras HaShem.
אני מברך את הרבנים, רגע. אני מברך את הרבנים, הרב ירון ראובן, הרב אפרים כחלון, ראשי ארגון בעזרת השם, שהלכו בפי עליון, שעלו מעלה, יהיה להם ברכה והצלחה, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא בישועות ליבם לטובה ולברכה, שבכל מה שיפנו ישכילו ויצליחו, יזכרו לעשות כאלה וכאלה, הודיעו תורה לאדירה, אמן ואמן.
בעזרת השם רשת בכל הארץ. הוא היהודי הזה, הוא היה מיליונר, סגר את כל הביזנס, אמר אני משקיע פה בעולמה של תורה.
איפה הוא גר?
בפלורידה.
פלורידה, איפה זה פלורידה? באמריקה.
מיאמי. כן, ליד. אנחנו שם עכשיו הולכים להקים קהילה ספרדית גדולה.
תעבירו לו מה שבירכתי אותו.
כן, קהילה ספרדית גדולה.